If you thought the military was safe from wokeness, you're sadly mistaken. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk more about the woke military. I've done videos on this topic before, but we have yet another example. Now, Army General Mark Milley, who's also the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, he was at this hearing. I'm not sure what the hearing was about. I'll link to the full thing in the description box. But at this hearing, he was saying how he wants to know about white rage. He wants to understand this thing because he wants to know why people went to the Capitol and assaulted it on January 6th. Now, there's so much here. I'm not really sure where to start. We got to dive into what wokeness is, and we got to dive into the military in general being woke and the context of today, which is why he said what he said about white rage. But before we go any further, let's roll the clip. In this clip, you're going to see Mark Milley at this hearing talk about white rage, things of that nature. After we get done watching that, I'll come back. I'll talk about what was said there. Then I'll give you my 2 cents, my deep, detailed analysis. And then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
I do think it's important, actually, for those of us in uniform to be open-minded and be widely read. And the United States Military Academy is a university. And it is important that we train and we understand. And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white, and I want to understand it. So what is it that caused thousands of people to assault this building and try to overturn the Constitution of the United States of America? What caused that? I want to find that out. I want to maintain an open mind here, and I do want to analyze it. It's important that we understand that because our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians, they come from the American people. So it is important that the leaders, now and in the future, do understand it. I've read Mao Zedong. I've read Karl Marx. I've read Lenin. That doesn't make me a communist. So what is wrong with understanding, having some situational understanding about the country for which we are here to defend? And I personally find it offensive that we are accusing the United States military, our general officers, our commissioned, non-commissioned officers, of being, quote, woke or something else because we're studying some theories that are out there. That was started at Harvard Law School years ago, and it proposed that there were laws in the United States, antebellum laws prior to the Civil War, that led to a power differential with African Americans that were 3/4 of a human being when this country was formed. And then we had a Civil War and Emancipation Proclamation to change it. And we brought it up to the Civil Rights Act in 1964. It took another 100 years to change that. So look I do want to know. And I respect your service, and you and I are both Green Berets. But I want to know. And it matters to our military and the discipline and cohesion of this military.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, I'm not sure about y'all, but to me, that was peak woke. Now, some of you may not understand what the word woke means in this context. It's kind of a new word, I suppose. They may as well put it in a dictionary at this point. It doesn't just mean the past tense of awake. There's a lot more to it. The term woke refers to people that care way too much about leftist social issues, things that aren't really social issues. A prime example is woke people think that voter ID is racist because Black people don't know how to go to the DMV. They can't use computers. They don't have any money to get on the bus and get a free ID. They think we are incapable of doing simple things like that, getting an ID. That's a woke person. Now, that's also racist, but they think in their mind, they're fighting for the Black man. They're fighting for social justice. That's what they think. They're woke. You understand? And this whole thing here, this white rage thing, this comes from critical race theory. And critical race theory and wokeness are one and the same. Okay? They're one and the same. And critical race theory seeks to place people in classes based on their race. And in critical race theory and in wokeness, they think that whites are like the superior class right at the top. That's why I talk about white supremacy, things of that nature. Or we have to dismantle these systems of white supremacy. They automatically assume in critical race theory and in wokeness that white supremacy is a real thing, that whites control everything and nobody else can control it. Nobody else can do anything out beyond the white man's permission to do so. So they say, okay, we have white supremacy. This is at the top. And in order to have more equitable societies, we got to bring them down from the top. That's their whole thing. So then they come up with stuff like white rage. And in white rage, they say things like, if a white person is upset at being called racist, then that's part of white rage. It doesn't matter if the person is racist or not. If they're upset at being called racist, that's part of white rage. This is all critical race theory. And Mark Milley wants to understand that. Now, a key thing he said here is that this shouldn't really be a problem. We should be able to study this because, we ended slavery with the war. We had civil rights, and now we're here. Critical race theory started after civil rights, like in the 70s in academia. So he's thinking, as critical race theorists think, that critical race theory is an extension of civil rights. This is straight from them. So he is being programmed this way. He is believing in the critical race theory and wants to have that be in the military. It should not be in the military. And the reason why he was talking about white rage is because I think Matt Gaetz may have asked a question. I think he mentioned it before, speaking about Mark Milley. He spoke on white rage before, and I think Matt Gaetz and other lawmakers may have been asking him, hey, why are we spreading critical race theory in the military? And then he wanted to double down on it and explain why. But all he did was just give a more detailed view of what critical race theory is. That's all that he did. And one thing he said here that was really, really important to just key in on, because there are certain little words you're going to hear more than others. And you got to listen to them when you hear them. He was talking about how this is important for cohesion and whatnot in the military. Now, I heard that term before, and I had to think about it for a while. I was like, where did I hear that before? Oh, there was a drag queen performance, an actual drag queen show that happened on Nellis Air Force Base, right? And then the reaction to the kickback from that saying, hey, why are we having a drag queen show on the Air Force Base? Oh, this is important for military readiness and for cohesion. Oh, okay. So whenever you do some woke stuff like that, because the drag queen show, that was to promote LGBT and to have unity and to erase homophobia, that's also part of wokeness. Just like these parents take their children, little baby, we're talking about goo goo gaga, can't even read or write or walk or talk, babies, to drag queen shows. And you got these adult males spreading their legs, exposing their twig and berries to little kids. This is wokeness. And really, in reality, aside from this woke fantasy land that they live in, this is child abuse, right? To have your children get exposed, to by men, this is child abuse. But in their mind, they're being woke. They're being down for the cause because you have LGBT people of color trying to express themselves, trying to be seen, trying to be visible, trying to, become allies with them. This is part of the wokeness. But once you take away all that frivolous nonsense, take away all that, what you have is just a case of child abuse. Okay, you have parents that are selfish, narcissist parents. That's the reality of the whole situation. Okay. Also, the end game, one of the end game, like I said, is to take whites down from their level of white supremacy. That's what they think, right? They think whites are supreme. You got to take them down. There was an army commander, I forget his name, but I'll place that on the screen before you, who just came out and said it. He says, whites are the problem. And of course, he's white because in his mind, he's woke. He's thinking, okay, white people, we're terrible. We're trash. We're the problem. And I'm going to stand up for my black brothers and sisters and fight against a thing called whiteness. But what he may not even understand is that if people that he's speaking to were to take him seriously, he would not be seen as any different than the whites that they don't like. He is the exact same as them, which is weird. People talk about, oh, well, it's not me. I'm not the bad white person. The person over there, they're white. They have whiteness inherently in them. They're bad. They're terrible, but not me. The person that you're talking to is not going to see it that way. It's like, you're white, he's white. If you're evil, if he's evil, then you're evil as well. So it's ultimately kind of like you're doing a kamikaze mission. when it's all said and done, it's dumb. But again, people have been brainwashed by this wokeness, by this critical race theory. This is why there's such a big fight against it in K through 12 public school and private school, in college, in the workplace, because we don't want to wind up like Mark Milley, or having a drag queen performance on the military Air Force base. But as I close, I want to say this: critical race theory, wokeness, all these things are regressing parts of society. Not all of us, because I don't think all of us really buy into it. But unfortunately, a lot of leadership from the top to the bottom are buying into it, and that's going to affect those that are forced to follow them. Like if you have a boss that's engaging in critical race theory or is woke, and you want to keep your job, you may have to kind of, go along to get along, unfortunately. And there's going to be a big backlash. There's going to be a big revolt against this. Like I said, you're seeing it all throughout school systems. And you're going to see that a lot more as the days and weeks and months and years progress. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about this woke Army general talking about white rage? I mean, why is that even the assumption as to why the whole Capitol thing happened? Like, it's got to be a racial thing. This is racist. All that I see from critical race theory, from wokeness, is racism. Plain and simple. Like I said many times before, when I was on the left fighting against the right, I never got a lot of kickback from the right, that was racist. I didn't get any racist kickback. What I got was learn how to read this book, read that book, educate yourself. But now that I'm on the right fighting against the left, it's racism all day long, cloaked in critical race theory, cloaked in wokeness, cloaked in allying with my black brothers and sisters. Okay, I love black people. You are a racial slur. I hate you because I think you don't like black people. Although in reality, what they're saying is not true. These people are kind of trapped in the prison of their own mind. And I hope one day that they get free. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.